Welcome to another episode of Triple D's. This is a special episode. I was supposed to do it last week, but Cash talked me out of it. I'll explain why. Um, for those that don't know what indecisive means, and I'm not here to challenge your education skills, but I'm gonna define it so I can go on into the story. Now, indecisive. The meaning of indecisive is a person that just goes with the flow, don't care where they go, what time they go. We all have a person that we know that fits that description. Now, the difference of an indecisive person and an indecisive donkey is that an indecisive donkey will let you say what you have to say, like, hey, let's go to the mall. And they say, all right, I'm going, I'm down. And then turn around 2 seconds later and say, well, I'm not really ready to go to the mall. All right. So since we got that definition out the way, last week, I was on cloud nine last week because I was walking back from the office and I went savage, 85, a level of 85. And I was holding this in, and that day I went 85. So it's an undescribable feeling, but for those people that have kids or when you was a kid and you saw like a Disney movie and the flowers were singing and the birds were chirping, singing a happy song like Bambi or some shit like Dumbo, that's the feeling I had. Had is the key word. So as I walked back to the office, I had two co-workers and somebody from the finance department at the smoke shack. So I was stopped mid-action from going check emails, doing some things. And they was like, when do you want to do your presentation tomorrow? And I'm like, it don't matter. So it was, let me see, I can't say names. So I'm going to say the guy from the finance department, let's call him Clay. Good person, standalone guy. We had my coworker Darlene, let's call her Darlene, and the indecisive donkey, we're gonna say, let's give her the name of Charlene. Let's go with Charlene. So when they asked me what time you want to do your presentation the next day, I'm like, what time fits everybody's schedule? And there was I looked at Clay, and because he was doing the presentation with me, I was like, what time's good for you? And he was like, it don't matter. So I'm like, 6? Does 6 sound good? And the Charlene was like, no, we can't do it at 6 because somebody's using the conference room. And in my mind, I'm like, but I just asked what time is good for everybody, and nobody said nothing. So I looked at Clay. Clay looked at me. He knew that I wanted to go Gladiator. And I was like, how's about 5:30? And everybody was like, all right, 5:30 is good. I'm like, so and so, I was about to walk off, and Charlene stopped me and was like, no, we can't do it at 5:30 because somebody's using it then. Now I looked in the sky, and God touched me and said, take a breath and don't say nothing. So I was like, fuck it, how's about 8 o'clock? And then Charlene said, no, 8 o'clock's too late. I'm like, how's about, so I threw one more number. I was in my mind, and I told myself I'm gonna throw one more time out there, and if it don't fit, then I'll go savage. So I threw 4:30. Everybody was like, yep, 4:30 is good, works with everybody. So I left, went in there, did the work. I saw Cash later, told him the story. he was like, you did the right thing not going savage. And Cash, his savage level used to be a 10 when we first met, but I'm trying to get him, right now is at 45, maybe 40. I'm trying to get him to at least a 75. That way he could be on cue when it's time for him to go savage. So the next day, I was like, I'm gonna leave at 2, go hit the sauna, come back before 4, get ready for the presentation. I'm like, hey, are we still good for 4:30? And Charlene was like, no, somebody's gonna be in there. I'm like, wait, time out. Time out. I thought we said yesterday we agreed to 4:30, and Charlene was like, no, we can't do 4:30. And then I'm like, all right, all right, all right, in my head. I walked off, came back at 6. We ended up doing it at like 6:15, 6:30. So I was gonna do, and this is what Cash gave his props, because I was gonna do, instead of doing the fumble episode, I was gonna do that episode with the fumble episode. But the reason I gave Cash his props is because in that moment of last week and now, my clarity was like, let me rewind and see if this happened before. And many times, not many, but quite a few times, it has happened before, that the indecisiveness. So I was like the fumble guy, Cash, he's a level 1, learned his lesson. But I couldn't give Charlene a level 1 because it happened before. So I had to bump it to a 2. So I'm not gonna stamp it a 3 or a Una yet. We're gonna wait. We're gonna wait. But in my head, I'm like, was it me? I'm like, was I overreacting? And then Cash was like, he's a little, like I said, he's a little soft-hearted. We're gonna work on that. But in the midst of it, I'm like, no, I should have went savage. But then I was like, I held some restraint. But now there's another category to put in the toolbox or put on the bookshelf of the many various donkeys that we come into contact with. But all in all, I learned some lessons about me, and I learned some lessons about life in general. Other than that, it was a quite eventful week. The week. I think that's probably, I could tell another story, but that one right there was a heartfelt moment. So, props to Cash. I already told him that earlier. But yeah, that was it. So, an indecisive person, donkey is 2 separate things. So on that note, I'll see you next week with 2 stories, because I got another one, but I don't. That's a longer one. But I'm gonna tell 2. I'm gonna try to sum that one up. Thank you to all the viewers, subscribers,